Hey friends, Gene Valentino. We just wrapped up another episode of Gene Valentino's Grassroots Truthcasts. This is what you see above the waist, but below the waist is Mike Lindell's My Slippers, up to 80% off. Hint, hint. But use the promo code, please, GeneV. Enjoy the holidays, enjoy the springtime, enjoy the year ahead of us in 2024. And stay cozy in a cozy slipper from My Slipper.
Maryland Congressman Jamie Raskin has really not been shy about pulling any punches when it comes to his dislike of former President Trump. And it's really no surprise that he supports the decisions in Colorado and Maine to remove Trump from the presidential ballots there. But it's how essentially he framed those decisions, which is sparking controversy. Here's what he said yesterday on CNN's State of the Union. Listen.
Of all the forms of disqualification we have, the one that disqualifies people for engaging in insurrection is the most democratic, because it's the one where people choose themselves to be disqualified. Donald Trump is in that tiny, tiny number of people who've essentially disqualified themselves.
So essentially, the congressman said it's, and you heard him, quote, democratic for a presidential candidate to be disqualified for a crime that they have not been charged with, in this case, engaging or inciting an insurrection, right? Well, with more on this, let's bring aboard our panel to debate the issue, beginning with Gene Valentino, GOP political strategist and host of the Grassroots Truthcast podcast, along with Rich Nichols, attorney and Democratic strategist. Gentlemen, good afternoon to you. Happy New Year. Thanks for coming on for this spirited and hopefully friendly debate. With that, Rich, I'll start with you. So, Democrats are calling Trump and constantly calling Trump a threat to democracy. We've heard that a lot, right? But critics contend that it's a baseless attempt to disqualify him from the presidential ballot. So isn't that essentially the same thing? Isn't that? What do you think?
Well, yeah, I'm not quite sure it's a baseless attempt. And to be clear, I agree that any candidate should be able to be on the ballot and let democracy take its place, let voters decide who's going to get elected. But that being said, the Republican Party likes to have it both ways with states' rights. And the bottom line is that it's a state's right to be able to create the criteria that they want to political candidates to ascribe to in order to be on the ballot. So if Maine and Colorado and other states have determined that if you have participated as an insurrectionist, that you can't be on their ballot for elective office, that's the state's rights to do. And that is democracy. I'm not quite sure what Jamie Raskin was trying to say yesterday, but the bottom line is states have the right to create the criteria required to be a candidate on the ballot. And if you don't satisfy those criteria, you can't be on the ballot.
Well, Jane, before I get your reaction, I want to play another clip from Jamie Raskin's appearance on CNN. And he really doubled down on his insistence that this is a democratic process to disqualify Trump. Have a listen to this, and then I want to get your thoughts on the back end.
I think it's going to be tough for some of them if they want to keep Trump on the ballot, if they're falling for the argument that this is undemocratic. I mean, is it undemocratic that Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jennifer Granholm can't run for president because they weren't born in the country?
So, Gene, it seems like a major reach by Raskin. Basically, what does one have to do with the other? What do you think?
Well, Stalin would love Raskin's commentary. It is a complete misrepresentation of what our founding fathers intended. Arnold Schwarzenegger and anyone else in that category have nothing to do with the entitlement that the president of the United States has in being on every ballot. In fact, I'll take it a step further. There should be a constitutional amendment put out by a strong Congress in the future that makes it consistent across all 50 states. You and I have only one thing in common in terms of the voting nationwide. We have a president and we have a vice president we all are going to vote for. And that our governors, our senators, our legislators, and district people, all different. But at the top of that ballot is the president and vice president. and the rules that apply to how we vote for them, how we judge the efficacy of the voting process, the chain of custody, and how those ballots are managed. And I'll take it a step further, John. Let's have one day of voting, not this hodgepodge going out 3 months after an election. Florida got it right with a Republican GOP. We had one day to vote, and we had a clear decision in place by 11 o'clock at night. And it was a little confusing too, because there's two time zones in Florida. But we need to get a good, you need to copy and paste the GOP management of Florida's governance to the other states in this nation, specifically the blue states, which are crying foul over sanctuary cities right now.
Rich, as a Democratic strategist, we're hearing the contention a lot that the Democrats are doing whatever they can to keep Trump off the ballot. Is that a fair assessment?
Well, I think if you're looking at it, it looks like it's a fair assessment that states are trying to do what they can to keep him off the ballot. Personally, I think it's wrong. I think it's a waste of time. I think it just further empowers Trump and his base to continue to be victims. And in this case, he'd be the victim of being excluded from a ballot that the democratic process said he should be a part of. So I don't agree with keeping him off the ballot. I think he should be on the ballot, let the voters go to the polls and vote him, and vote for him or don't vote for him. But put him on the ballot so that he doesn't have that extra weapon and grievance to sell during 2024.
No, a lot of people agree with that. You know, you're not wrong there. So one last note, President Biden he's soon going to be wrapping up his week-long vacation in St. Croix in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Last night on ABC's New Year's Eve broadcast, he was asked about his favorite holiday foods. Listen to this, and then I want to get your reaction.
I'm curious, what sort of holiday foods have you been enjoying over the last few days?
Well, I've been eating everything that's put in front of me. But I've been eating pasta, which I love. Yeah. Eating a lot of chicken Parmesan. I've been eating all Italian foods, basically.
And ice cream.
And ice cream, chocolate chip ice cream.
All right. So, look, I mean, it's friendly. I'm not sure how many people really care about what, the president is eating when a barrage of rockets are being fired from Israel. Yeah, I get it's a lighthearted thing, the New Year's Eve celebration, and we all understand that. But Gene, a barrage of rockets fired by Hamas at Israel, the Houthis continuing attacks, concerns about Iran developing a nuclear weapon, and he's being asked about ice cream and food.
Yeah, and how we fund Ukraine and Israel. We've got so many issues on the table. We are relegated to these distractions. I agree with my co-guest today in allowing, and I appreciate his objectivity in keeping Biden on the ballot, because it's the people's will. It's not a select few who are not elected by the people, such as the Secretary of State in Maine, such as some Supreme Court justices in Colorado. The people want him on the ballot, and he deserves to be there, by the way. And I believe that there's a complete disregard or misunderstanding about his right and entitlement to be on the ballot. These are distractions. These are Democrat distractions to divert, deflect, and distract your attention away from these issues. Let's talk about ice cream and what you had for dinner on the holiday. Let's forget about the fact that we got a national crisis with the debt approaching $34 trillion. Economy. Hey, you want to compliment a Democrat? It was a Democrat that said, it's the economy, stupid. And it's that kind of mentality that is being ignored right now. So what's going on here? Why do we have...
Hey, Gene, I gotta cut you off, and we gotta wrap up. But Rich, I want to allow you the last word real quick. If you could do it in 20 seconds. Are we just being mean by picking on Biden with that answer, or should we?
The guy's trying to gain a little weight for the upcoming election. It's going to be a tiresome year for him. He's trying to put on some pounds. So I don't think you're being mean. I think it's okay. It's lighthearted. It's a new year. Let's start it out on a light foot.
Yeah, there you go. And I appreciate the civil conversation. You guys were agreeing more than disagreeing, but
Well,
that's okay.
Well, I leave you with a final thought. Truender dash Duber depression.
Okay, there we go. All right, well, buckle up. As we said last hour, it's already shaping up to be a very intense and busy new year. Gene and Rich, thanks so much for coming on again. Happy New Year. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Same to you.
Thank you, sir.